Canadian Metal Legends Anvil just dropped their 20th studio album called One and Only, and in this video I'm gonna tell you if it's a hit or a miss. Anvil Story is quite interesting. Steve Lips Kudlow, the guitarist and singer, and Robb Reiner, the drummer, met in 1973, childhood friends. They founded the band officially in 1978, and they did something that most people don't do. They opened the doors. They made a movie in 2007 or 2008 called Anvil, the Story of Anvil, and they showed us under the hood the harsh reality of those bands that are not at the top of the food chain. This movie really turned me onto this band because we were so honest, it was so raw, it was so real that I wanted to know more. And I was never a big fan of them. I knew their music, I knew them from the 80s, but I was not a huge fan. But I kind of became a fan, but for a different reason. And I think, if you watch that movie, it's easy to see them as underdogs or victims or something like that. But I choose to see them as an inspiration. But despite everything, these guys have traveled the world playing their music. Now, listening to Anvil through the years, it feels for me that they have kind of wavered somewhere between hard rock, traditional heavy metal and speed metal in some way. On this album, I feel that they slow it down a little bit. Maybe some say that they're going back to the roots, but it's definitely a little bit slower than some of the older stuff. The opening track, which is the title track of the album, is not one of the strongest songs on the album, but it immediately shows you the production quality. It's a raw album, but still with like a quality finish somehow. There is a song on here called Fight For Your Right, kind of Motorhead vibe. And it's this old school kind of dirty metal banger that kind of gets you in the mood right away. There's another song called Runaway that's very straightforward, no frills rock and roll. And I feel that with a lot of the songs on here, that they can be kind of predictable in some way. I wasn't really expecting any kind of rocket science here, but sometimes it gets a little bit bland. Another thing that I noticed also is that on the guitar work, I kind of feel like Steve Lips could have done some of the leads and solos in a different way or in a better way. I know it's maybe not right to say, but I feel that with some of it, it's almost like willingly creating imperfection, if that makes any sense. And I think some of those songs, being not very complicated, could have benefited from a little bit better melodies or a little bit different guitar tone or something like that. Another song that I really like is Blind Rage. That kind of a fast-paced speed metal in-your-face song. It's the last song on the album, and the cool thing about that one is that you have kind of a double kicker from Robb Reiner under the whole song. And I actually realized when I was listening to it that I hadn't heard him a lot on the album. I feel that the drums could have maybe taken a little bit of a more kind of prominent role on the album. There are some bland songs on this album that kind of just fade into the rest of it somehow. It kind of merges somehow. And I think partially that's because of the narrow vocal range that Steve Lips has. And if I had to highlight one of those songs, then there is a song called Heartbroken. There is just something off with it. It's super slow, which is cool, but his vocals just don't fill that void that slowness creates. And I think that's, shows that he can't just sing whatever. There are just certain songs that work for him, and then there are certain songs that I don't think work out very well for him. But overall, I would say listening to this album is a fun experience. It kind of does what it says on the tin. And talking about the tin, the album cover, not very inspiring, nothing new, but at least you will know which band this is. So the pros of this album is it's raw but quality production. It travels a little bit from kind of hard rock, heavy metal to speed metal, so it has variety in a way somehow. There are some really catchy choruses on here. Some of those songs could be great to listen to live or in a party where everyone is wasted. It's honest and straightforward. There is nothing here pretentious or anything like that. Good lyrics. I like the lyrics on this album. They are kind of stinging on different things. Now, the negatives, guys. It can't be monotonic, and I think, as I said, that's because of the kind of the limited vocal range somehow. And then some of the songs are very simple, and they don't add any kind of decorations to make them less simple or more attractive. There are fillers on here. I feel that this album would have been a better experience from start to finish if it would have been 9 or even just 8 songs. They could have let Robb Reiner loose a little bit more. He definitely has the skills. Let him shine. Now, there is nothing really new on this album, but I'm not sure that was ever the plan. So I'm actually going to give this album 7.5 out of 10. I think if you are an Anvil fan or a fan of kind of the old school heavy metal, you will actually like this album. Now, I'd be very happy if you'd like this video and subscribe to my channel for more album reviews, concert reviews, and interviews. And then I want to turn your attention to a video that I did the other day. If you're a fan of old school heavy metal, then this one is for you. Accept Humanoid, the new album. I just did a review on that the other day. Check that out up here.